Now, let's take it to the next level. What if I wanted to add a little ad content above the blog post in the main area? Well, if I go back here and I look at my options, I've got the header area, right sidebar, left sidebar, and I've got something here called Content Top. If you recall from the image I just showed you, that's the area above the main body content. So let's go ahead and put something in there that I can use as a placeholder to represent ads. Now, we've actually got an ad widget, which is called Ad Rotate, and it allows you to put in actual really functioning ads, whether they be Google ads, text ads, banner ads, they could be images, flash, etc. But for this tutorial, let's just put in a placeholder. So I'm going to go ahead and take a text widget just so I can show you the area where this is. And I'm going to put in a little trick here. I'm going to put in an image that will allow me to show you where that space is. So I'll call this. Little tip, by the way, is there's a website called placehold.it that generates image files dynamically. So if you ever want to do a little placeholder, you could tell it how big you want it to be. Watch. So if I want this to be, say, we'll call it 700 pixels wide by, I'll call it 100 pixels high. I just have to put in the image source equals and then this URL, and this will dynamically create a placeholder that's 700 by 100. Watch. It's great for design work because it lets you get away with not having to actually upload any images. Now that's pretty cool. It's a little too wide. Let's reduce that to 600. And again, placehold is not really a tool that we include. It's something we give you as a tip here because it's available to anybody for free just by using the URL. Ah, that looks really nice. So I've now got, for example, the potential to have a nice little banner ad in this area when I use the ad widget, but it's also helping me right now to see how my layout is looking. Now, I think this is pretty good, but you know what? I'm not so crazy about the navigation, and maybe I want to change the log out to go below the navigation. That's easy too. If we go back over here, you can see that we can go to the header area, which is the header widget container, and you'll see that I've got the LabTools login box stacked above the header, and then I've got these two navigation menus. Well, before I do anything else, let me explain what the two navigation widgets are about. Remember I indicated that you can have a unique menu that's created that is unique for somebody who's logged in versus somebody who's logged out. Although I'm going to show you how to make these menus in a minute, just keep in mind that I created here one unique menu setup for people that are logged in, my registered members, and I made a second one that has less choices for the general public. This is just sort of a way for people to see a little bit about my company and social network, but not enough to get the nitty-gritty details. Once I made those menus, when I was laying out the page, I went ahead and I dragged in two navigation LabTools widgets. One of them, I selected the menu, logged out menu, and I said only allow people in the public to see that. In other words, this menu can only be seen if somebody is logged out. I then did another widget, same widget, and this time I chose logged in menu. This is the menu, and I said under permission, only show this to logged in users. So basically, these are an alternative choice to each other. Only one will show at a time. One of them is for public people to see. One of them is for private, logged in. It doesn't matter which order you put them in the stack because they're only going to show one at a time. But it is relevant to say where they appear in relation to the header and the login box. So going back here, you can see the three elements I'm going to work with. I've got the login box here. I've got the header image and the site title here. And I've got the navigation. So we were talking about moving the LabTools login box from the top of the page over here down in between below the header and the navigation maybe. So I go ahead and grab it with my left mouse, bring it below the header, and now I go back over to my front end and refresh the page, and you can see that it's automatically in a new spot. Now this should be very familiar to anybody who's ever used drag and drop widget placement, but what we're trying to impress upon you here in this basic tutorial is that by doing this you can turn on and off different zones without having to code, and you could change the look and feel of your site. In the special tool called the LabTools header widget, you have a couple options in there. There's to show the site title and tagline and to show the header image. Now, The site title and tagline are the words here, and the header image is the visual. If I go ahead and turn off the checkbox for show header image, click save, when I go back to the page, I'll now have a title only consisting of text. Likewise, if I do the other way around, I can turn off the title and tagline and only have the header image. And when I refresh the page, I've now got just the visual look. This is ideal, for example, if you have a custom logo and your site already has the name of your company or your business in there. You don't need to repeat it with the text as well as the image. All right, one last concept in terms of where we go with the menus. If you recall, in order to make that front-end menu, I was under Appearance, Menus. Now, you can have multiple custom menus. You go ahead and start with this page by moving your mouse over the plus sign. There's where you can add a new menu item. At that point, you can give it a name. We'll call this one New Menu and create it. And when we do, we've got a menu that we can now create navigation items for. We can choose off out of the box from either creating a custom link here. We can add pages that are already existing on our site, or we can go ahead and choose by way of categories. Now, we haven't set up the site with categories, for example, so we're going to stick with the ones that we have. What if I wanted to go ahead and make a custom menu that had the contact page and the report contact page? Those are the two items that we have in the footer there for people to kind of tell us what they're interested in or tell us if there's an issue with the site. Let's add those to the menu. When I check the boxes and click Add to Menu, they get added over here. I can adjust the various settings. For example, the label that'll show on the tab is called the navigation label. I can change the title attribute. The title attribute is what happens when you roll your mouse button over the link. If I go ahead and typed in an attribute for Contact Us, something like, please get in touch, what'll happen is a little yellow box will pop up every time I roll over the link. And lastly, I can go ahead and remove it if I make a mistake by clicking the remove button. If I like what I see though, I go ahead and I click Save Menu. Now, once I've saved the menu, I can go ahead and actually reorganize things. So for example, let me add one more thing in here. I'm going to add the About menu. So 3 items. Watch, I can do 3 things. I can drag and drop the position of each item. I can make one item a child of another item. So I can have the About menu, and then below it will be a drop-down that says Contact Us. And lastly, I can even have a tertiary or additional level so that this will have the About menu has the drop-down of Contact, and the Contact will have the drop-out menu of Report Content. Now, once I've created the menu and saved it, I can utilize it wherever I want to do so. Now, since I've already got the site set up with main navigation, I could utilize either a sidebar or I can use our new slide out left panel. So let's try a widget on the sidebar here. Actually, no, I take it back. Let's go ahead and make it the main navigation, because I was showing you earlier when I go over to Appearance, Widgets. Remember when we were setting up our main navigation under LabTools, we said when you were logged in, I have logged in users, I want to show the logged in menu. Let's change that and say that for logged in users, I want to show this new menu. Notice I chose the new menu from select menu. So I hit save. And now when I go to the front of the site and I reload, we're going to see our new menu take the place here where we got that About tab. And you notice we got the drop down and the secondary drop down. And look at that. When I roll my mouse over Contact Us, we see that we've got the attribute there that says, hey, get in touch with us. Watch. See that? Really neat. Now, if I change my mind and I want to go back, I can just as easily select the logged in menu as the menu to use here for logged in users. Click Save. And I'm back where I started once I reload.